Hello everyone. Oh, Jesus Christ, the intro. Fuck. I thought I'd do a series of videos on gear, and I'm going to run through a bunch of pedals and amplifiers and guitars and stuff. And I want it to be an unintimidating series of videos so that people aren't kind of freaked out by I don't know, pedals and amplifiers and think it's too technical or anything like that, because it shouldn't be. It should be a warm and welcoming world that gives you the warm fuzzies and makes your guitar sound weird or better or inspires you to do interesting things. And I bloody love effects pedals. So work that one out.
Anyway,
I thought that this would be a good place to start. It's a tuner. So this is a Boss TU3. You can't really see it because it's underneath my tape here, which has my initials on it in case I forget my initials. But it's TU3, Boss TU3, and this is a kind of classic tuner. It's the quintessential stomp box tuner. I call it a stomp box because you can step on it, and that's the whole point. But just a really quick overview. You can get slightly more complicated with these, but it's so simple to use. It has a 9-volt adapter here, and we'll come back to this in a second, but you plug it in here, or you can use a battery which goes under here. Just undo this wheel, lift this up, there's a battery in there. It's a 9-volt battery, the rectangular ones. And then you've got your input, aka guitar, goes in here. And output, that one is for your amplifier. Or you can do this one, which is the bypass, which is, just turn it a little bit, that's the bypass down here. And the bypass means you can step on it and turn it on, but your guitar will still be traveling through to the amplifier, so you're still getting guitar sound whilst you're tuning. Most of the time, in most situations, you're not going to want that. You're going to just want input, output, and that means when you step on this to tune your guitar, it's a mute. It mutes your guitar sound, so you can be making all kinds of racket on guitar, and no one's going to know about it. So if I just pop this in here, it's going to automatically turn on. There he goes. And if I push it in, so if I'm stepping on it, so it's now, as you can see, telling me the battery is powering it, and we are good to go. All right, so here we are. Guitar's plugged in, and we're ready to go. So you can see it's kind of making some readings at the moment, but if I play my E string, we are in tune. So that green in the middle there, when we got these 2 arrows lit, means we're in tune. There you go. And then it does that little visual effect to let you know you're spot on in the middle. Same with A, D, G. You get the idea. So this is just standard tuning. This is a guitar in standard tuning. There's lots of little mnemonics to remember them. So if you've got elephants and donkeys grow big ears. Super primary school stuff, but it gets the job done. Elephants and donkeys grow big ears. If I am out of tune, you can see, okay, so, C sharp, that's no good to us currently because we want to be in standard tuning. So my 3rd string should be in D. It's way down here. It's not even in tune in C sharp. It's just, it's sharp of C sharp. So if we just tighten up the string by turning the machine head of that string.
Pa.
There we go. So there's a couple of other different modes that this thing can do. I think as an entry level, I think we've covered this pedal. I'm not going to go into that right now. All in all, it's a great place to start. If you don't have a tuner, get yourself one. You can actually get some on your phone as well. There's one I have on my phone that literally looks exactly like what you're looking at right now. It's a TU3, and it just uses your phone's microphone to pick up guitar strings, and it works exactly like this. It'll have the exact same visuals. It's nowhere near as accurate because it's using a microphone on your phone, but if you don't have anything else, I'm sure there's various. I have an Android phone, but I'm sure there's various things on Apple as well. But yeah, I think it's an actual Boss piece of software. It is free as far as I'm aware, and there's no ads, so it's definitely worth picking up. Like I said, it's not going to be. I definitely wouldn't want to use it in any other situation other than just having a little play at home. But if you don't have one, it's a really good starting place. I'll maybe try and find a link, put it in the description or something. But yeah, that's the TU3, and we'll come back to doing more later. Some quick other things that I just wanted to cover on this pedal. So you do have so first of all, we've got a brightness control here. If you push and hold this button, it'll flash like so, and it's going to get brighter. So now it's on like real high light level. If you are in a basement or something, I don't know. I leave mine on low because it's currently running on battery. I'm not doing any live shows, so I don't really need it to be too bright. This is a slightly more advanced thing, but you can change it between streaming and sent. So streaming looks like this because you're trying to get these to kind of stay put rather than, say, let's see the string, so that's a bit too low, a bit flat, it's rotating, and try and get it spot on. A spot on. You get the idea. I would say it's unnecessary for most people. I think tuning by scent is visually, I think your brain can make a lot more sense of this. But if you freak out, the reason I want to point this out is that I've had people push this and then they freak out because they've never seen their pedal do that before, and it looks like it's broken. It's not broken. It's just a different way of tuning. Don't freak out. This button here, you've got mode. I always leave mine on chromatic because sometimes I have to tune basses or other instruments or guitars that are tuned to different tunings. If I have it tuned to chromatic, it just tells me whatever note I'm playing. So I could have a guitar that's tuned down to C. All right. And it's just going to tell me, yes, that string is in C. Great. If I've got it on one of the other settings, it's just going to come up with a reading that isn't going to help me. So I'd leave it on chromatic if I was you. You can set it to guitar, and then what it's going to do is it's just going to tell you the string number and whether or not it's in tune. But so for instance, if my sixth string is just making it go nuts because it's in C. It's incorrect in guitar language. So unless you're always playing in standard, you can have guitar if that's the case. These little buttons here, these icons here are for how many semitones down you are. So I've just put it on flat. So that means it's now going to be tuned to E flat. So my first string, for instance, is too high because it's currently in E. If I roll that back, all right, now it's telling me that string is now in tune. That's because, if I put it back to chromatic, it's now E flat. Sorry, D sharp, E flat, yeah. So again, unless you're always going to be in that tuning, it's not really that helpful. Or at least it doesn't have the flexibility. So then you've got two semitones down, which would just be D, Let's try and get that to work. Okay, there we go. Try and play it with my left hand because I'm holding the camera with my right. So that's now D. There we go, D. Again, I just don't, it's not, there are uses for these, but I would say just leave it in chromatic. And again, it's one of those things, if you freak out, if suddenly it's reading numbers and you're like, what's going on? It's probably because the mode button has been pushed accidentally. There's a separate option for bass. I don't know whether it's supposed to be more accurate. Maybe it's supposed to look for frequencies that a bass guitar would output. But it's the same thing, essentially. It's just telling you the string numbers, which obviously on a bass, the G would be your first string. So, like I said, if I was you, leave it on chromatic, leave it on scent, and then you know exactly where you are. It's very easy to use, and you shouldn't be afraid of it. And if you push some buttons you didn't mean to push, you know how to get back. Last but not least, with a lot of tuner pedals, you actually have this. You have this, an in and an out. So if you're powering this with a 9-volt power supply, you can get these daisy chains, which you then put in the out section, which can then daisy chain and power other 9-volt pedals. It's really, really helpful, especially if you don't have lots of batteries or power supplies or whatever. Can really get you out of a bind. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the best thing to do because you've got less flexibility. If you accidentally pull out the daisy chain out of your power, tuner, then everything's going to go down. It's harder to kind of isolate problems. But again, that's something that I think most people won't need to worry about. As a kind of overview of this pedal, I think we've covered everything. And I'm going to go and do some other tuning pedals.